Welcome to episode 26 of Motormouth. Here's your host, Brendan Kelly.
Hello everybody and welcome to yet another episode of Motormouth, the show that keeps you up to date with all forms of motorsport in the Eastern Cape. My name is Brendan Kelly in Pretoria. Paul Bedford is pushing buttons on our final mix, and in Port Alfred you'll find our producer, the formidable Daryl Cookard. Apologies once again for the abrupt ending to last week's episode when we lost our main internet link in Pretoria. For once, it was totally out of control, so we do apologize for that, but we'll pick up where we left off in last week's episode. Please be so kind as to hit the share button on whatever platform you are watching the show on, as well as keep the questions coming. It's always great to interact and look at and answer our guests' questions as the show progresses. I follow the show live on Facebook on the Up to 60 Seconds page, so please feel free to ask our guests any questions as the show goes along. Celebrating a milestone birthday this past week was Roger Stephen, the man who has done so much for karting in our region. We certainly hope that you had a really special 70th birthday, Roger. Our first guest tonight will be picking up from, as I said, where we lost him last weekend, and it's welcome back to East London-based motorbike racer Travis Naude.
Hey, Brendan, how are you?
Sorry, Travis, are you hearing me there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hey, okay, there, I got you. Sorry, there was no sound coming through. Yeah, good. Once again, I apologize for the disaster in last week's episode. We were just really getting into the nuts and bolts of everything. I believe we've got some more video footage after you made your debut in the Kawasaki ZX10 class at Scribanti. We've got some more onboard footage. Paul, can we pull that up so Travis can talk us through it?
This was the start of the second heat, I believe. I think I started in 6th or 7th position. Yeah, I had a pretty good start, much better than the first race. Passed David off the line there, and I think I dive bombed Johan into the first corner. But I really had to try and make up some places. The first race I got held up a little bit. Chasing down Jacques Ackerman going into the S's. I was trying to get him on the brakes, but he's quite a demon on the brakes. He was actually riding very well this weekend. But the first lap's always the most fun. You're surrounded by people trying to block your line, also trying to create passing maneuvers on the oaks in front of you. So this was now going through the hairpin, second gear, bang it into third, throw it down into the sweep. I remember getting quite close to Jacques through the sweep here. I tried to outbrake him into the last corner, but he was a little bit too deep on the brakes. So threw into this corner. Was a bit slippery on the exit of this turn, so it was quite tricky getting out. But yeah, I bang it down the straight, using 5 gears down the straight, and we reach a top speed of about 250. And then we do the roller coaster all over again.
Sorry, you say a top speed of around 250?
Yeah, 250 on the PE track. Obviously, the East London track is a little bit faster than that.
And then the footage from East London, this is the one that this is goosebump stuff. Okay, Paul, can we see the East London footage?
This was I think this was the last practice day I had. This is going down into the straight. This is by far the best track in South Africa. You're going over that bump there. You got to keep your foot on the back brakes to keep the front wheel down. Topping out 6th gear, we hit about 275 down the straight. Hard on the brakes down into 5th, turn into Potters. We average about 200 k's an hour on the apex through Potters. And bang it up to 6th. And you don't brake for rifle, just roll off a bit. Let the engine braking get some load on the front tire. This is down into, we had a bit of traffic there. It was a practice day. Down into Cochabana, we try and keep on a tight line to keep off the negative camber of that corner. And then this back straight, it doesn't seem that long, but we still get to about 250 or so down the back straight. This is now going into the S's, down into 3rd gear. Flick it right, flick it left. There's a double apex left here. This S's are a little bit bumpy, so it's quite tricky to get the right line. short shift up into fourth gear, throw it over into the sweep. It's probably the longest corner on our track is that sweep. Hold fourth gear flat out till it limits, and then hard on the brakes into beacon, down into second gear. This is also a tricky corner. There's a bit of a bump going through there that's caught me out a couple times. And then again, down this mad straight. You can see how quickly we go past the guys there. But yeah, man, that nothing like that straight anywhere in the country.
Just looking at the sticker on the back of your bike there. Please sponsor me. I did look through the entries for the PE 2000, the PE 200 this weekend, and saw that your name wasn't on the list. Are you're not making the trip down to PE this weekend?
Yeah, well, the please sponsor me, I suppose, hasn't quite worked out yet. But yeah, I thought it would look a bit silly, but I guess the reason was to make it a talking point, and a lot of people have been talking about it. But yeah, sponsorships are quite hard. I had quite a good sponsor lined up before Corona hit and lockdown, and businesses have suffered, and I lost my sponsorship. So it's been a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I'm missing the second word you're saying.
Sorry. Can you hear me? Brennan, can you hear me?
Sorry. Yeah, no, yeah. It just seems to be buffering quite badly. I just you keep coming and going, so I'm not quite catching the gist of.
Okay, yeah, it's the signal. Everything looks good on my side, so.
Yeah, apparently it's only on my side. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to shut down some of the extra devices that I'm watching. I'm just going to switch off the iPad, and that improves the signal from my side. I saw there were guys in the show already. Barry Capellis and Dion Slabbert were watching as well. So is that better? Are you guys hearing me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, so yeah, that's all good to go. Yeah, we did ask you last weekend, or last week during the show, the guys that you look up to nationally and internationally. Can we just recap on who you idolize in the sport?
Yeah, I think with the international riders, I've actually been following Johnny Ray right from the beginning of his career, and I still think he's one of the best riders out there. So he's always been an idol to me to look up to. Yeah, he's just got a good attitude, and he really, I mean, that guy can really pull a rabbit out of a hat at any track. He can make things happen. So yeah, that's someone I've always looked up to. And of course, Rossi, I suppose I have his helmet, so I always get flack about that, But but yeah, and in the local scene, actually one of my good friends, Chris van Vieren, was someone I used to look up to when I was a little kid. He doesn't race anymore. I actually bought his motorbike from him, but yeah, he was someone I used to look up to when I was a lightie still in school, and he was one that encouraged me and got me into the racing. So yeah, I was stoked about that.
If we look at the motorcycle racing scene in East London at the moment, things to have dropped off a bit. Is the sport on the decline? And if so, what would you put that down to?
Yeah, I think the sport is on a bit of a decline here in the Eastern Cape. I think more in East London than in Port Elizabeth. PE still seems to have a bit of a larger group, although it's a lot more of like the classic bikes and the smaller bikes there. I don't think there's any 1,000 cc's that race in PE. But yeah, East London, I wouldn't say it's probably declined in the last couple of years, but we still had a pretty big group of 600s last year. The guys are doing a good job at getting the 600 class together. The 1,000s, we've only got about 3 of us here, I think. But yeah, I think it's an expensive sport, Obviously in Joburg and Cape Town, there's a lot more money, a lot more people there, so a lot more people can afford to be at the racetrack. Isn't quite the same down here. And of course, sponsorships are hard to come by, so especially down in the Eastern Cape. So yeah, but we still try and make it happen. We still show up at the track, and we do the best we can.
Your future plan? What have you got on the horizon? What is next for Travis Naude?
Well, I definitely would like to get into the ZX10 Masters Cup. I mean, that's been something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So I think step one is to try and get that sponsorship. I can't afford to do it on my own. My uncle has been helping me down in PE with the last 2 or 3 years. He owns a business called Pro Seals and Bearings. So he's helped me quite a lot, and he's definitely got me to where I am today. But yeah, I'm just trying to get onto the national scene, onto the ZX10 Masters Cup. That definitely is my goal, and that's what I'm working towards. So yeah, let's see. I had one appearance, and it didn't go too bad for the first time. So that's the next step, is to try and get in there and travel the country and do the ZX10 Masters Cup for sure.
What we're going to do here, I'm going to ask Paul Bedford just to step in quickly. I'm going to log out quickly and then re-log in again. So Paul, if you can come in for me, please, man. Okay, cheers. We're going to say goodbye there. I do apologize once again for the internet. It's really frustrating trying to work like this, and it always seems, as we go live, we test these things, it always seems to work perfectly, but then as the show starts, something in the software, something is causing problems. But yeah, thanks very much, man.
No worries.
Your future endeavor, interest, and all the best for next season.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you for having me and inviting me to the show. I appreciate it.
Best Drive Treads Tyres East London, your complete one-stop car shop. Visit us for great deals on Continental and General tyres, as well as many other brands. For professional and friendly service, call us on 043 743 7564 or find us on Facebook at Treads Tyres. Treads Tyres is a proud sponsor of Eastern Cape Motorsport.
Come on, you bastard, go.
Right, okay, folks, I seem to have back and I can see myself moving. Everything seems to be working. And we're going to go on to our next guest. We do apologize for that little technical glitch. Seems to always be with Travis that we have the problem. So on last week's show, we were going to have a young karting sensation, a young guy, Jack Moore, who had just won the 2020 African Open in the Bambino class at the new Formula K circuit in Benoni. But as luck would have it, we lost our link, as mentioned at the start of the show. But it turns out that maybe that wasn't such a bad thing, as Jack's brother Josh then went up to Idube to keep competing in the Rock Nationals at the Idube circuit between Pietermaritzburg and Durban this past weekend, and ended up dominating the mini rock class. So joining us on the show now, Jack and Josh, ably assisted by their dad, James Moore. Guys, welcome to the show. We finally getting to do it.
Thanks very much for having us.
Hey, there we go. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Jack, we're going to start with you, the 2020 Africa Open champion. That must be a serious title for such a young man to have. Well done.
Thank you.
Tell us about your weekend up at in Benoni at the Formula K circuit. Is it an easy track to race on?
Definitely not an easy track to race on because it's very fast and it's hot. There's a lot of overtaking opportunities.
Okay, and the PE boys certainly did well. Caleb Moss getting a fourth in the Bambino class as well. So and then your brother Josh getting sixth in the Micromax class as well. So the PE guys are certainly going out there and doing very well.
Yep, they are.
And what do you put it down to? Tell us a little bit about your preparation this season, because suddenly things have really switched on, and you guys are really flying.
It was mainly from Michael and Jason and my dad doing all the work on the kart, and Michael built the engines very, very fast.
Great stuff. And obviously the Michael and Jason that you referred to are Michael Stephen and Jason Bright, two of the absolute karting legends from our area that we're so lucky to have. And have they been doing lots of work with you?
Yep, they have. Jason training me and my brother, and Michael building my engines.
Great stuff. Okay, Josh, we're going to go to you. You didn't want to let your brother get the better of you, so you went to Idube, which is probably one of the toughest tracks in the circuit to race on. Tell us about your weekend up there.
Yes, we started off and we first practiced, we qualified, we were second position through the whole thing, and then second position we were also second. Then third we dropped off, and then fourth we were quickest, and fifth practice we were also quickest.
Great stuff. And you've got one race left in the championship. I think 12th of December is the final at is it Swartkops of Vereeniging?
Yes, it is. At Swartkops, and we're hoping to win. It's at Pretoria.
Okay. And do you like that track? Have you had much track time out there?
Yes, we've had a few. I think we had one Kid Rock race last year, and I think we've had 2 Micromax races so far there.
So you know the track fairly well.
Yeah.
And where are you lying in the championship at the moment?
I'm tying first with Sapon Chinchinwama.
So it's going to go right down to the wire for the last race. It's going to be an exciting weekend.
Yes.
Great stuff. Right, James, we're going to bring you into it. Where did it all start? I mean, you from a sailing background, national colours for windsurfing. How did the karting thing come about?
I think, fortunately, being a family with mom, dad, and 2 sons, we can put the blame squarely on mom. You know, I windsurfed. I grew up windsurfing, sailing all over the world, lived in Hawaii. My old man, funny enough, was the 1,000cc lap record holder at the old Kyalami circuit for forever until that class disbanded. He raced minis right through varsity. And then him and my mom raced 3 Roof of Africas in home-built Mazda Buckies. Managed to beat the Mazda Works team of the day in the Roof. But it seemed to miss me. I stuck to the windsurfing and then got into motocross for a while. But mom, shortly before we dated for years, and shortly before we got married, Karen's dad handed me an old VHS videotape, and he said, "Best you watch this before your wedding. I've never shown you because you might have been intimidated." So I was like, cool. And had a look at the video and was totally perplexed to see this little girl in pink kit with a pink helmet on a KX60 clearing the triples at the Supercross at Springfield and beating all the boys. So it would appear that, unbeknown to me, after dating for many years, she was a motocross star up until the age of about 13. And then in PE, she, through Michael Stevens's karting, the MSR 4-stroke series, she just came to us and said she's going to race. She co-opted Sean Watson-Smith's wife and her GP, Kim Friggins, and they formed a team and aptly called it the WTF Girls, and proceeded to surprise everybody. I think after 6 months, Karen still held before the sort of balanced weight system was introduced. She held the 4th fastest lap time around that track, even against our strong pedigree of racing drivers in PE. So she was pretty quick. And the 3 boys used to just go and watch and pour petrol and clean lead the chain, because that was not something that girls could do. And eventually the boys said to me, Dad, if we sell our peewees, can we start karting, and could we race? And I said, because I never allowed them to race motocross. I said they can play on play bikes, but at their young age, I was against the racing competitive motocross. So they figured it out. They sold their peewee with the money, bought one Bambino, co-opted Uncle Roger into lending them the club cart so that they could still keep one dirt bike and one cart. And then the rest is history. They ditched the bikes and got into the karting, and Mom is still at every event on the Bambino. She's the one who cleans the tires with the heat gun. She gets stuck in. She screams and shouts and offends some of the officials, but she's all good. And I think we're lucky that we've got a motorsport mad mom. So it works well with the all boy family.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. Just looking at the photographs, I see Josh is in a burrel there. I'm not used to seeing him in a burrel. How did the burrel ride come about?
Basically, we've always supported the Burrell Art brand through Ricciardo Karts, which is obviously a racing driver derived product line that comes out of the Burrell factory. NS two-stroke Neil Smith imports Burrell and Ricciardo, and he's been so good to all of us. Taught me the ropes and the DD2s. His boys literally flew down to PE to help me with setup, and always been great. So we supported him. But what we realized this year is that with the rubber coming down, particularly in the Bridgestone series, the Rock series, but also in the Micromax series, the older S9 Burrell chassis has too much flex. So as soon as you got a lot of grip, a lot of rubber down, it doesn't release. And we saw the final straw was we saw Josh's mate Keegan Beaumont in the new 2020 Burrell at the Africa Open, where the more the rubber came down, the faster he went. So we were kind of in a jam because Neil didn't have any stock of them. We'd ordered for next year to support Neil. And then very, very kindly, Eric Schultz from PE said, you know what? If you can stand par for any damage, just they're not using their chassis. It was brand new. Take it, use it. And I think he said to Josh, you take it, use it, but then you better win. So that we did. And that chassis was just incredible. It's, it just shows how karting evolution works. There was a 5-year moratorium on the junior karts in Europe in terms of homologation and development. So the 2019 karts were essentially a 4 or 5-year-old design. And the 2020 karts and obviously moving on are going to be are really that good. They're that much better, especially on the high grip circuits. So thanks to Eric, I think, and also to Chase and working with Eric to get the kart set up. We literally got it the night before we left for Durban. And with Eric's help and Chase and working through the night, we got it all set up. And in the last race, I think, again, testament to the rubber coming down, Josh was pretty much quickest after all the free practice, but only just by 0.1. By the last race, his best lap was 1.2 seconds quicker than the guy in second, and he won by 14 seconds. So I think he learned the track, and he's incredibly smooth. Leroy Poulter actually said at one of the events, he said to Chase, and I've never seen a kid who bangs in such consistent laps. We had a lot of work to do in terms of learning to race and pass, because the problem, Jack's always had Caleb Moss to dice with in the Bambino class, and they really rub plastic every race. Josh has had a few kids, but generally they've been younger than him. Some have been fantastic, but he's just in an age bracket where he's kind of on his own in PE. But he proved us wrong at Idubi, and I think in the second race he went from 4th to 1st in 2 laps. So Jason actually joked and said, "Are you sure you didn't put Bam Bam Jack in the cart?" It was Josh, because with Jack there's only one way, and that's even if you have to go 4 abreast, you get to the front, as we saw in Cape Town. But Josh has always been very pedantic, and obviously in the bigger carts that pays dividends in terms of nose cone penalties. You've got to be very careful. So I think Josh's driving style, now that he's learning to dogfight a bit, he's still aware that he's got to be careful in terms of not getting the nose cone penalties in the bigger car categories.
Great stuff. Just a massive thank you to Reinhard Gelderblom for those photographs from Idube. I'm sure you wouldn't have seen some of those photographs. Paul Bedford arranged for Reinhard to take those pictures. Some fantastic photographs from Idube. But as a father racing at Idube, or as a parent, it's got to be one of the most nerve-wracking circuits to watch karting at. How do you handle it?
Yeah, it is incredible. We saw one of the young ladies in I think OKJ last year, sort of or Mini Rock, somebody came out of the pits down into Kangaroo and flipped her, and she went backwards down underneath the cart into the corner. Testament to karting safety, she was 100% fine, but I think having seen that, it's obviously scary. But I think the Kid Rock is a very clever formula. It's age category. It's correct in terms of performance for the age category. The Micromax, having said that, is absolutely nerve-wracking. I think Josh at Idube earlier in the year, in August, he ended up, I think, 4th or 5th in the Micromax there. And in the Micromax, they were topping out at well over 108 k's an hour. So with plenty of bottom end, so they're restricted, but because it's the 125 motor, it's got so much bottom end that it accelerates super quickly. So I think the Kid Rock is fantastic for that age category. The Micromax is, as a parent, is nerve-wracking, but again, they're learning fast, and it's next year's Joshua's year in the Micromax. He ages out in Kid Rock at the end of this year, so he's got to win it. And then Micromax, he's got the whole of next year. And he's determined to get a seat to the Rotax World Finals, and I think he can do it. And then Jack will move into Kid Rock and Bambino for next year. He's still in Bambino, so we're hoping that he can put it together in terms of the championship, having won the Africa Open. And then he will also be able to pick up where Josh leaves off in the Kid Rock next year. So all positive, and I think the karting webinar, the presentation by Vic this evening was fundamentally important. What was impressive is they took a lot of the criticisms and feedback that was sort of given back as input, and it sounds like we're going to have a fantastic series next year with decent age categories, with and then also combined events. So like for us as a family, I can race the DD2 Masters, the boys can race. Josh will race Micromax and probably Mini Rock, and Jack can race Bambino and then Kid Rock. So there'll be a nice overlap. I think it'll be good for the sport because we'll get some, the numbers. There should be a major influx in numbers in both categories, both promoters.
Great stuff. Jack, don't you want to grab your trophies and you guys and Josh, grab the trophies. Let's have a look at them. A super proud moment for you guys.
Sure. So there you go. Tell them what these are. Josh,
this one was my Kid Rock trophy from Idube.
And
it's about 1 meter tall. No, not almost.
And that one, Jack, what's that?
That's just my Cape Town one that I won Bambino with.
Bambino Nationals in Cape Town.
Nationals at Cape Town. It's the same as that, just different saying. And then this one here. This one here is my Africa Open one.
Great stuff. Unfortunately, in the Bambino class, winning the Africa Open, you don't get the free ticket to go overseas. But next year, you should be, are you moving up to the next class? So next year you're gonna give it a good shot. Not moving up to the next class. Clean Bambinos next year again.
Yeah, but in Bambinos you get a seat to go and you get a ticket to go and watch World Finals.
Yeah. Tell them what you got, Jack. So they've kindly confirmed that he'll get the South African team suit as a part of his prize for winning Africa Open. He gets all expenses paid, return air ticket, and VIP spectator package to the World Finals for next year. Obviously COVID dependent. So at the moment, it looks like there are no spectators allowed. But then what the prize actually, I believe, is sponsored by Rotex Global. What they've agreed to do is if he can't go to watch, then they will credit his South African Rotex account to the equivalent value. So the way I see it is he gets to buy his brother a whole lot of Micromax engines. So thanks, Jack.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and congratulations once again. Just before we go, James, just from your side, DD2 around Idube, have you taken the DD2 around the circuit before? Have you raced up there?
Idube, I've been a very, very voluntary spectator, much to the boys' chest. They've teased me, so I only got into the DD2 for the first time at the Formula K track for the regional the day before the Africa Open, and it was quite a funny evening because I managed to get second in the Masters, and the boys on the Saturday was still sort of struggling with setup. So for the first time in a while, I got the best trophy of the day. But needless to say, by Sunday they corrected that with the Africa Open. But yeah, no, it's too much work. You know, Jason's been a star. But we literally run ourselves silly, even, just to get them on the line. And it wouldn't be fair to them this year for me to also step in. But next year we'll try and plan it better, and hopefully I'll be able to be told what lines I should be taking, that I'm braking way too early, that I'm lifting too early, because they enjoy doing that to me. Around the FK track, I eventually drove past our pit at the end of the straight with my left foot out of the cart, because they kept telling me that I'm braking at the end of the straight and that I shouldn't brake. So eventually, just to prove a point, I literally lifted my foot out as I came past. So anyway, yeah. So, apparently they know more than me now.
Yeah, well, I mean, Africa Open champion, and soon hopefully to be South African champion. So best of luck, guys, and Josh, all the best for the last race of the season, and bring that title home. It will be fantastic for Algoa Motorsport or Algoa Karting and Motorbike Club to have another South African champion. So best of luck, and we'll certainly be cheering you guys on all the way. Thanks very much. Good night.
Thank you for having us. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, folks, we're going to go to another advert break, and then we will catch up with happenings on the local rally scene.
With over 60 years of financial planning experience, Skybridge Capital has sound solutions for your financial needs. Our client commitment and unbiased approach enables us to build tailored investment portfolios for the individual and their changing circumstances. We specialize in retirement and estate planning, wills and deceased estates, as well as local and offshore investment planning.
Prana Eco Car Wash is a new waterless concept in cleaning cars. You can give either Bobby or Matthew a call for prompt service. Their numbers are on the flyer that is on the screen. These guys are mobile, so we'll come and clean your vehicle wherever it is convenient for you to have it done. Prana Eco Car Wash, a new waterless concept in cleaning cars. Right, as we said, we're going to talk rallying, but just before we go there, just see who has joined us. I've got Facebook running again. George van Balen, hello boys. We'll see you all on the weekend. You sure will. Jan Dorfling has joined, wishing Travis, he said you've had a good run, Travis. Dot Kelly, my mother is watching as well. Happy birthday, Mom. Glad to see that you're watching as well. And then old friend of mine from East London, Terry Gaffney. He's watching, and then watching all the way from Germany, Hardo Bisping joining us again. So great to have everybody watching the show. As we said, we're going to talk rally. The Heinespoort Night and Day Rally was once again hosted by the Algoa Rally Club with an impressive field of 18 cars entered. The annual rally, which runs through the Longmore Forest, provides some of the best rally stages in the country and ended with the following class winners. In the retro class for classic rally cars, this was won by Etienne Malherbe and Ingrid G. Cox. The S1 class went to regular guests of our show, George van Balen and Dion Slabbert. Well done, guys. And then the S2 class, that was won by Niels Vosloo and Riekus. And then the winners of the S3 class join us now. So it's a big welcome to the show, Riekus Schmidt and Sherilee Pieterse.
Hello.
Hi, Raymond.
Good evening. And first of all, let's start off by saying happy birthday to Sherilee. I hope you have had a good day and you will have a little bit of a celebration tonight.
Thank you very much.
Guys, it's great to have you on the show. You obviously had a good weekend winning the Heinespoort Rally against some formidable opposition. Tell us about the weekend. How did things go?
Oh, it was a very, very, very nice weekend. Very well planned rally, and Longmore Forest is probably one of the best places to rally, and our club hosted a very good event there, and with the sponsors Andrew Hein and his dad Brian Hein, that hosted the event for many years, that they sponsor it. And night rallies doesn't actually in South Africa exist anymore, and it's quite interesting and a privilege actually to do a night rally, and it's very nice.
It's very scary, but it's worth it.
Yeah, surely going through the forest at night, it's bad enough during the day, but to be doing those sections at night must be a complete new dimension to it.
No, it's nerve-wracking, but it's good.
Yeah, Sherilee had a wooden spoon with her in the car because she drove with my son last year, and he actually scared her, and she said she had a wooden spoon, and I beat him on the night rally last year. I beat him, but he beat me in the day. Yeah, and that was quite good. But she had a wooden spoon in the car, and she said to me, she's gonna slap me if I said every time you pick up that spoon, I'm gonna look out the road. I'm gonna look outside the window. So you must choose, or I drive, or you can eat me. So yeah, but it went well.
It's just for in case if they don't listen.
Okay. But as a father and daughter combination, competing in a race car, it must be a very special time. Tell us a little bit about this.
That is the special thing about, for me, about motor racing or family time with my daughter. Same with my son. Rally weekends is very special, and in a busy life, one live, and you don't see and you don't talk a lot, but memories are made on rallies like this, and in rally cars, and it keeps you together.
It's a whole family event. That's why we all go, because it's a family thing.
I've mentioned more than once on the show how much I admire the camaraderie and the spirit in the rally club. Is the spirit still so good? All good there?
Yes, of course.
Yes, our club is probably the best club in South Africa. We last year at the Heinespoort we were something like 32 cars. So there's a lot of. It's a very well supported rally, but for the whole year we are actually full car. It's really everybody's competing, everybody's helping everybody, and it's the best club to be in.
Yeah.
No, great stuff. Yeah, we just see the size of the No, there's serious competition out there. I mean, we've had a couple of the guys on the show, and I obviously have commentated at a couple of the races as well, and so I know the caliber of the opposition that you guys are up against. And then looking to next year, are there any plans for different classes? Are they keeping the classes pretty much the same as this past season?
I think that they probably will. This year they started with the last rally. There was a 4-wheel drive, so probably they will start a class for the 4-wheel drives next year. But the classes will probably stay the same. The turbo is in now, so 99.9% of the cars that have been built these days by any factory is turbocharged cars. So there isn't actually a normally aspirated engine anymore. So turbocharged is the new class. So yeah.
Sorry, I was just getting direction in my ear from Daryl here. He says I keep cutting you off by mistake, so I do apologize for that. And then motorsport obviously runs deep in both of your blood. Tell us where it all started for you, Riekus.
Oh, I was still in school in Standard 8, and I had my first track car at Scribanti. My dad started way before I was born, when St. Albans was still a racetrack, and he raced with Bernie Marner, Scam Porter, Lionel Rowe, Jody Scheckter, and the old people. And then they went to Red House, and I was born then already, and then they started with Scribanti. And my dad used to race in Anglia, and he gave me an escort, and I had to build it myself. And after that, I've been racing. And in 1990, I started working at Volkswagen, and I got a Golf, and I ran Westbank Modified Class D for about 5 years. And in 2000, I started working at VW at Motorsport itself, and I've been working there since. I've worked on Hergen Vekken's car. I built his first car in 2000 and his last car in 2015. So I was 15 years, I was his car chief, and that is where my love for rally started, because I used to go in the car with him, and that was just amazing. Track is good, but rally is better. It's more scary.
We've got a question coming through here, and it's saying, Sherilee, we see you taking a sip out of the cup. Is there champagne in that cup? Champagne?
I'm staying away from champagne forever.
I see your arm. You got a bit of damage on your arm there.
Yeah, I got 5 stitches, but it's fine. It looks worse than it actually is. It's really not. It's fine. I took a little stumble off the podium, so it's.
Yeah, it's just champagne in the eye. That's
all. Great stuff, guys. Thanks very much for joining us on the show. The rally season, has it come to an end, or have you got, how many events have you got left? Oh, so it's finished.
We're done. This is the first one for the year, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
COVID actually hampered everything, and we only had the one. So yeah.
And the new class with the polos, the 1 liter polo is. Are you involved in that at all?
Yes, I built at Volkswagen. I built the 1000cc rally cars. I built the first one for Polos. He tested about 3,500 kilos with it. The car is a great success. I just built one for Jannie Habig. They're going rallying in Joburg at the weekend. But the car is a great success. It's like you can't believe 1000cc running, making that power and can sustain it. It's just incredible. car's good.
And your combination, the father-daughter combination, is are you going to look at keeping that going for next season, or what's that?
Yeah,
what's the
definitely.
Sorry, Graham.
Yeah, that's for my other English friend. He wanted to come and sit with me because they won last year. No, they didn't won Niels won last year, but they really trying to beat me. They always beat us, but this time around I beat them, and he wanted a seat. But I won't change navigators soon. It's the trusting. It's I trust her, she trusts me.
Definitely.
Yes. Okay, and you listen to her as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
I have to. I have to. Otherwise, I have to. It's an absolute trusting. If she say that is what it is, I must believe that is what it is. Although I maybe know the road, what I wrote on the recce is what stands. So yeah, it is
Otherwise, the spoon comes out.
a good combination. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's where the
Great
spoon
stuff.
comes out. Yeah.
We obviously spend a lot of time at the go-kart track with Ross and Roxanne Bartle. I see they had a good outing, but probably the happiest guy of the day surely must have been Keith McGregor to finish. I think it was probably his first rally in about 3 years. So that must have been a celebration on its own.
Yeah.
Yes. I was very glad to see that he finished, and he had a good rally, and but everybody that was there enjoyed, even although they fell out or had problems. It's just the experience is very good. Yeah.
No, great stuff. And then so Eddie Banks didn't have a good outing, breaking down stage one on both days. So yeah, that car of Eddie's must be getting tired. I mean, from the stock car track to the main circuit to the rally circuit. So, but he's just an absolute legend, and he just brings a completely new dimension to everything he does as well.
Yes.
No, definitely. He's in another level. Yes.
Yeah, if you look at his car control, and that is amazing. And although we can beat him on stages, I don't want to drive with him at all. Not at all. It just doesn't look right. So for me, a rear wheel drive is definitely a special breed of person that can drive it.
And Eddie is definitely
the one. He can drive it. I don't want to drive it. Yeah.
No, great stuff, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and we'll catch up with you guys in the near future. So all the best for next season.
Thank you very
much, Brendan.
Thank you.
Great program. Thanks.
Right, folks, a reminder to please share the show across all of your social media platforms, as the show is all about you, the racers out there, and it's a platform for you not only to promote yourself, but your sponsors as well. Before we go, I'd like to just wish all competitors that are converging on Aldo Scribante Raceway this weekend safe travels and safe racing. Obviously, the big one for us, the highlight, the culmination of the racing season, the PE 3-hour endurance race and the PE 200 motorcycle race. So we look forward to catching up with a lot of the competitors. Unfortunately, no spectators allowed yet, but we'll catch up with a lot of the competitors at Scribante this weekend. Folks, thanks for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure hosting once again. And thanks to those of you that have shared the show for us. From me, Brendan Kelly, it's goodbye until next time.
Best Drive Treads Tyres East London, your complete one-stop car shop. Visit us for great deals on Continental and General tyres, as well as many other brands. For professional and friendly service, call us on 043 743 7564 or find us on Facebook at Treads Tyres. Treads Tyres is a proud sponsor of Eastern Cape Motorsport.